Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the fields here at Southern Virginia University for your women's soccer matchup between the Southern Virginia Knights and the Wolverines of Wesley College. The Wolverines coming off a tough 3-2 loss this last week to Marymount and an even tougher loss against Christopher Newport, who the Knights recently played as well. A little bit better turnout for them, only a 4-1 loss rather than a 11-0 loss for Wesley College. I'm joined today by Chris Fly. Chris, what are you expecting in this game today?
Well, I'm seeing from both teams coming off tough losses. Obviously, our SVU Knights coming off loss to CNU, and then Wesley College coming off a loss. Both teams will be looking for the win today, obviously, and it would be interesting to see what the coaches do differently from their prior games to try to get an advantage and maybe get one up.
Yeah, absolutely. This being a conference game, it definitely has a little bit more riding on it than some of the previous games. Both teams yet without a win in conference, 0-3, but I agree with you. Both teams definitely looking for a big one today. We'll go ahead and bring you the starting lineups for both teams now, starting with the Wolverines of Wesley College. Number 2, Aline Check. Number 3, Alea Cummings. Number 4, Allison Backert. Number 6, Amanda Butkus. Number 7, Lauren O'Sullivan. Number 8, Sammy Williams. Number 12, Megan Shacklock. Number 14, Amanda McCaldy. Number 16, Jamie Lynn Snyder. Number 19, Megan DeLauder. And number 24, Linnea Swanson. And now for your Southern Virginia Knights, number 4, Allie Rigby. Number 7, Kayla Fairbanks. Number 8, Cora Jewell. Number 10, Clarissa Barton. Number 11, Emma Schroeder. Number 14, Ann Powell. Number 16, Airdrie Palmer. Number 20, Cyan Smith. Number 21, Kira Tolbert. Number 22, Taylor Mercer. And between the posts for the Knights, number 33, Meredith Woolette in goal. Knights definitely coming onto the field with a lot of energy. Even though they did have a tough 4-1 loss against Christopher Newport last Wednesday, they did get a really good goal. And against the top 10 team in the country, Christopher Newport, I believe, ranked 9th and 7th at the time in a couple of different polls. The coaches' poll said 7th, and a national poll said 9th. Regardless, top 10 team. They'd only conceded 8 goals the entire season. So to score against a team with that much defense, I think the Knights really bring in a lot of momentum. They clearly coming onto the field with that same momentum. On the contrary, Wesley had a pretty hard time scoring this year. Not too many goals for them. Only 3 goal scorers on the year for them. Alea Cummings with 8 on the year, Janiyah Moore with 6, and then Megan Shacklock with 1. So really, the Knights know kind of who they got to watch out for.
Definitely, for sure. And I think with that momentum you talked about, the Knights coming off that loss to Christopher Newport of scoring a goal, here today you can't really see it on the screen, but it's kind of a wet day here in Buena Vista, Virginia. And I think that really plays to the Knights' strength, especially with the way they play. A lot of times they'll play through the middle and then look for a through ball between defenders, and that little more, the wet field allows the ball to travel faster, maybe the defender to slip, and that could allow Allie Rigby to definitely get in her score, and she's definitely one to watch in this game. Always has been for the Knights.
Yeah, absolutely. She's the leading goal scorer for the Knights with 6 on the year, but the Knights as well have quite a few other players that have scored for them. Cora Jewell got the goal in the last game against Christopher Newport. Emma Schroeder with a goal as well. Airdrie Palmer, Taylor Mercer usually up at the top of the attack doing pretty well, but Wesley coming out maintaining possession so far. The Knights do favor a tactic. They use their wings really well. They try to work it up the sideline and then try to find like a Taylor Mercer up at the point. But they do a really good job maintaining possession. They're not one of the teams that just tries to launch the ball up. They do have very fast forwards, but they try to work it to them rather than just play it over the top to them. Allie Rigby putting pressure on the ball there. Forces the Wolverines to play back.
Wesley College doing a great job here of maintaining the ball in the Knights' half of the field.
Pass just a little bit short to Cora Jewell there. Knights retain possession. The Wolverines come out and get it back. Wolverines cross the ball into the box. Try to head it down from Meredith Woolette, unable to do so. Knights scramble to clear it out. Airdrie Palmer in on that little scuffle there and ends up in the hands of Meredith Woolette. Easy play for her there. Long kick downfield, headed on by the Wolverines. Wolverines definitely trying to work it around as well. The Knights come out with it here, looking for Taylor Mercer in the center of the field. Takes a touch past the keeper, puts a shot on, but a Wolverines player in the post. That's a good job getting back by the center back there.
Also, great play by the Knights to send that through ball between the defenders looking for that open net. Got past the keeper, unfortunately, just not enough mustard on that ball to get it into the goal before a defender came and picked it off.
Yeah, that's a tough one. Good job, Taylor Mercer, though, getting open in the middle of the field, getting past the keeper, but center backs for the Wolverines able to keep that one out. Knights putting pressure on early, though.
Cyan Smith looking to throw the ball in for the Knights at about the 20-yard line here at the Fields.
Ball thrown long, goes off the end line. It'll be a goal kick for the Wolverines. Long kick downfield. The Knights first get ahead on it. In a foot race now with Ann Powell. Ann Powell usually the first to get to those type of plays. Very fast back line for the defense on the Knights side. Now they try to work the ball back upfield. Playing to that sideline. Airdrie Palmer making a run. Not totally sure what the intent was on that one. Looked like she was looking for Taylor Mercer in the center. May have just not quite connected with it the way she wanted to. Again, as you mentioned, conditions up here has been raining for a little while. There's the field's pretty wet out there, so the ball does skip a little bit more than you may expect it to. Cora Jewell trying to find a pass down the sideline. Looks like she's trying to connect with Clarissa Barton out on the edge. Wolverines kick the ball out. It'll be a throw-in for the Knights. Emma Schroeder looking for Cora Jewell in the center. Good turn. Wolverines get possession back. Try to find someone in the corner. Looks like Amanda McCaldy on the ball there. Goes out for Wolverines throw-in. McCaldy will take that. Cyan Smith shields the ball out for the Knights. It'll be a goal kick for Meredith Ouellette. Wolverines come out with possession. Try to work the ball up the sideline. So far, they clearly try to play a game of possession, but I think the Knights doing a good job disrupting a lot of their passes. Wolverines almost passed the ball right to the Knights. Let's try to work the ball back into the center of the field. Allie Rigby unable to control that one. Wolverines come back down the field.
Taken away by the Wolverines here.
Trying to work the ball back into the center. Not quite able to connect. Still a foot race for the ball, though. See the Wolverines really spread out in their attack so far. They do have quite a few players up, but they're about 10, 15 yards apart for most of their players. I think they're having a hard time connecting some of those passes because the Knights' defense is getting in the way of those passing lanes.
Definitely true. The Knights defense definitely getting in the way of the players, forcing them to kind of space themselves out a little more. And so even when the Wolverines get it, they're spaced to move the ball, but nothing really substantial and harmful for the Knights.
Yeah, I think they're doing a good job not letting the Wolverines play to their style, which does seem to be to have a lot of players up and then work the ball pretty widely across the field. The Knights doing a good job of not allowing that to happen. Go out for a Knights throw in. Cleared upfield by Cyan Smith. Looking for Taylor Mercer. Unable to get to that one. Wolverines play the ball back downfield. Like Emma Schroeder trying to get the ball back for the Knights there. Knights slowly working the ball upfield again, looking for those longer passes on that one. Ball thrown over the top for the Knights. Turn around and be a throw in for the Wolverines now. Knights quickly retain possession. Kira Tolbert bringing the ball up for the Knights. Now passes to Allie Rigby, looking for Taylor Mercer in the center. Pass maybe just a little bit long. Looks like Amanda Deputy comes out for that ball and clears it out wide. Knights connecting a few passes there. Cora Jewell plays it in the center, looking for Emma Schroeder. Pass just a little bit long. Wolverines clear the ball well downfield. Kayla Fairbanks looking for Clarissa Barton up on the sideline. Barton may have been looking for Schroeder there. Good passing by the Knights, trying to connect some passes and retain the possession that they need. That is definitely their favorite style of play.
Knights having a little trouble here, it seems, of just retaining the ball, because every time they get it, they'll look for a pass on the wing, and then a Wolverine defender comes and swoops in and takes it.
Yeah, they haven't really gotten in the mesh that we normally see them in, especially 10 minutes into the game. By this point, they've kind of settled down a little bit, figured out where the other players are on the field, but I think both teams really not quite in their groove just yet.
Still a little early in the game to see, but definitely be interesting to see if someone can find their groove and play their style of game. As you see the Knights taking it down the right wing here, possibly looking for a counterattack, but kicked out of bounds by Wesley College defender. It'd be a Knights throw-in.
Yeah, they favor a counterattacking style as well. They do have some very fast players, especially in the attack, and so that was a favorite against Christopher Newport in their game on Wednesday. They have Taylor Mercer usually up at the top for the Knights, a very fast player, and they have the ability to get the ball to her. When McCall Jensen came into the game against Christopher Newport, she did a really good job maintaining possession for the Knights and then able to connect with some of the other players. I think they may be going to that a little bit. They have had a few long passes, I think, trying to look for something over the top.
I think as you've seen throughout the history of this Knights team is that they do very well at keeping the possession. They pass it around, and really they're really patient with the ball. And then when they see a run, they take it. And because this team is so fast, they're allowed to get that ball, and most of the time it leads to a shot on goal. So I believe in this game, if they can kind of go to that mentality of maintain the ball, keep it there, pass it around, and then when something breaks, and then you find a run, you take it, you take that opportunity.
Yeah, and I think on the other side of that as well, they have a very solid defense. And so I think if the Knights can get a goal early especially, it just really builds momentum. They have the ability to stay in games really well because of their back line is just so solid. Back four have worked phenomenally together this entire season. So really, it's just if the offense can keep them in the game, and clearly they're well capable of doing so. Clarissa Barton not able to run that one down. Be a goal kick for the Wolverines. Amanda Deputy on the goal kick for the Wolverines there. Short kick goes to the feet of the Knights.
Taken back here by the Wolverines, sending it down the line.
Good pressure there by the Knights on Lauren O'Sullivan. Have Linnea Swanson to take the throw in here. Knights had that one out.
Be another Wolverines throw in.
Another throw in for the Wolverines. Had a couple of them down in the corner. They're clearly trying to go over the top to connect there again with Lauren O'Sullivan. Knights recognizing that, keeping her marked pretty well. Oh, Mercer looking for Rigby there again on a quick counter. Emma Schroeder looking for Airdrie Palmer up the sideline. Unable to connect on that one.
Now to see the first substitutes for today's game. Look at number 24, Kylie Auger, making her way into the game today.
Looks like we'll have number 6, Shirley Morales-Yan, come in as well. Play right back for the defense.
Good teamwork there between Allie Rigby and Cyan Smith there. For one to shield and the other one to take the ball and look for the screen pass.
Ball stolen away by Barton there. Great cut to get into the center. Trying to find Palmer on that splitting run. Unable to do so. Ends up in the hands of Amanda Deputy again. Really high kick there by Deputy. The Wolverines first to get onto the ball. Unable to maintain possession. Give a throw in to the Knights. A little bit of contact there with Cora Jewell in the middle. Allie Rigby comes out with it. Trying to connect with Mercer. Looking for another pass there. The Knights just so close to breaking through that back line, but just not quite able to do so yet. Ball played across the back line, and Powell trying to find a player up the sideline. Gives possession away to the Wolverines as they work their way back upfield.
We've seen a lot of long passes here from the Knights that have gone maybe just a little too far. Do you think the wet conditions here at the fields are actually playing against the Knights?
You know, it's hard to say. I think it may be a bit of a mental game is more than anything. I don't think the actual conditions maybe, but sometimes recognizing it's a little bit cooler, maybe thinking you can make a little bit longer pass because the field is wet, the ball skips a little bit. So it may just be in their heads more than anything, because I think that doesn't really seem to be the style that the Knights have played up until this point in the season. They still are comfortable making some longer passes downfield. So far, they just haven't really connected quite as many passes as they normally do before finding one of those longer passes, though. They may still be trying to settle down, even though we have had about 17, 18 minutes come off the clock here in the first half. Cyan Smith putting good pressure to force the Wolverines back downfield. Ball's kicked off Airdrie Palmer. Will have a Wolverines throw in. Couple of Wolverines in the area. They do come out with possession. Cora Jewell steals it back for the Knights. Cyan Smith on the throw-in. Now we'll have another throw-in for the Wolverines.
Both teams struggling here to find and keep possession with the ball. Really kind of juggling it around in midfield there. As you see the Knights playing it back to their back line.
Great through pass by Airdrie Palmer there. Looking for Rigby in the middle, connects. Might be trying to connect to Barton out on the sideline, does so.
Looking for that pass back to Rigby.
Great steal there. Looked like Kylie Auger to get on that one. Takes a shot. Deflected by the Wolverines, but the Knights still about 20 yards out looking for a shot here. Cyan Smith tries to bring the ball into the box. Finds a lot of Wolverine players there. Might be the first real attacking threat from the Knights of the game. Pretty good attempt there. They had a couple of opportunities for a shot. Nobody really pulled the trigger too early, though.
Like you said, that and the one earlier where one of the Knights beat the goalkeeper but couldn't get enough mustard on it to get it in the goal. Really the only two significant scoring challenges from the Knights here in this game so far.
Yeah, I'd like to see him come off with just a little bit better shot on that one. I think recognizing not exactly what they wanted to do. I think almost afraid to shoot. They definitely had a lot of opportunities to pass, but someone's got to pull the trigger on that one.
I think both teams here really struggling to find their groove in this game and a way to attack. Really trying different things out and nothing really seeming to stick here. But I feel as soon as one team can find their niche in this game to be able to find a goal, they'll stick with that and they'll run with it. And then that's when we'll really see this game open up into something else.
Yeah, I agree. And I think recognizing that the Knights really do have a pretty good defense, so they don't give up a whole lot of goals. The Wolverines actually averaging about 1.3 goals per game more than the Knights, about 3 goals a game on average scored against Wesley College, and only 1.85 against the Knights. So typically between 1 and 2 goals allowed per game, factoring in that they have played some of the best teams in the country so far, including number 9 Christopher Newport. I'd say that's a pretty good average. So Wesley definitely has given up some goals in the past, so I think the Knights just looking to break through here. Rigby looking for Barton out on the side. Barton brings the ball back into the center, looking for another pass. Oh, had Airdrie Palmer out on the side, unable to connect, touched just a little bit too far, and the Wolverines clear the ball downfield. In a foot race now against Ann Powell. Alea Cummings, the leading goal scorer for the Wolverines, trying to take a shot on goal, ends up in the hands of Meredith Ouellette. Easy for her there. Good shot by the Wolverines, though. A little bit long, maybe, about 25 yards out. Placed right at Meredith Ouellette, though.
In that situation, I do believe the long shot was the really only chance she could have had. It was her versus Ann Powell, another Knights defender, and those two are rock solid. So I feel the long shot was the necessary thing to do there, and fortunately for the Knights, falls right into the safe hands of Meredith Ouellette.
Yeah, I agree. She really didn't have a whole lot of options. I think the next Wolverine wasn't even 10 or 15 yards, within 10 or 15 yards of her, so the shot is clearly the better option there, but not quite the placement I think she was looking for on that one. But good to know. Alea Cummings, definitely the attacking threat against the Knights, leading goal scorer for Wesley College this season. So the Knights do need to recognize where she's at on the field. Looks like we'll have a free kick here against the Knights. Number 24, Linnea Swanson on the ball for the Wolverines, looking to cross it into the box.
This Knights team usually does fairly well at defending the set piece opportunities by the attacking team, so we'll see how they do here on this one.
Ball crossing in the middle of the field. Knights able to head that one out. Wolverines try to kick it back into the box. It would have been in an offside position there anyway. Meredith Willett scoops that one up. Ball's cleared downfield. Jewell plays it out to Barton there. Works it back upfield, ends up at the feet of Rigby. Tries to play it over the top to Mercer, brings it into the box.
Ball.
Hits it into the hands of the goalie. Goalie comes out and makes a lot of contact with Taylor Mercer there. We have no call on that. Ball rolls out for a throw-in for the Knights.
Great ball there by Allie Rigby to scoop it over the defense looking for her teammate there. And it's a good shot and a great save by the keeper of Wesley College. And then afterward, way to follow up. A lot of contact, like you said, but no call. But obviously, the referee saw something that we couldn't.
Yeah, that's why he's got the whistle and we have the headsets. Still, good play there from the Knights. Very close again, just knocking on the door, not able to come out with that one. We'll have a throw in for Wesley College. Again, a lot of contact. Two players collide there. Like Cora Jewell and Aline Check. A lot of contact on that one as well, but a clean play again. Jewell looking for Rigby upfield. Ball played just a little bit too long. Ball's cleared out by a deputy. Have another substitution for the Knights. Looks like McCall Jensen entering the game. Coming on for Airdrie Palmer. McCall Jensen, another player that does really well in possessing the ball for the Knights. She's very good playing up top, but then facing away from goal almost and keeping the ball with her back to the goal and then able to lay it off to try to find one of the other strikers for the Knights.
And throughout this game, as you were watching, you had to be wondering when McCall Jensen was going to get her chance to come into this game. And if you're watching this game now, watch throughout this game every ball that goes to McCall Jensen. I would say more than 75% of the balls throughout this period of the game will go through McCall Jensen at some point in time because she just possesses the ball so extremely well and then finds great passes. She's fantastic with her feet.
Yeah, she does a really good job. We have the first corner of the game there for the Knights. Ball placed in just a little bit too close to the goal. Looks like Deputy will just come up with that one easy. But corner kicks, another opportunity where the Knights have been quite dangerous this season. In the last game against Christopher Newport, Cora Jewell able to capitalize on a great cross from Taylor Mercer. Pretty much unmarked and just toe poke right into the back of the net was the only goal against Christopher Newport, but it was the 9th goal of the season that Christopher Newport had given up, so a feat nonetheless.
Any goal scored against a top 10 team in the nation is a great goal, especially with the defense, such a strong defense like Christopher Newport has. The fact that this Knights team could grab a goal in the way they did just really exemplifies the offensive capabilities of this team, especially on set pieces and on crosses.
Yeah,
Very
I think
good aerial striking team.
Absolutely. If you give them too many corners, too many free kicks, they're going to punish you on it and come away with a couple of points. Knights able to keep the ball in bounds there. Great hustle there. Clarissa Barton played it back to the back line. Cora Jewell in the center with the ball now, trying to look upfield. Ball played deep in for the Knights. Wolverines may just have to kick it out. Barton comes up with the ball, tries to bring it back into the box, connect with McCall Jensen. Does so. Barton in the box, ball being kicked around an awful lot.
Contained now by Cyan Smith. Top of the box to McCall Jensen, who takes a shot on goal. Unfortunately, wide left for the Knights would be a Wolverines goal kick.
Looks like she may have just connected with a player there, not quite able to follow through on that one. Pushes the ball pretty far to the left. Wolverines take their first sub of the game. Knights get the first touch on the goal kick there. Unable to maintain the possession, though. Cora Jewell able to steal it back for the Knights. Cyan Smith doing a good job getting the ball to Allie Rigby there. In a good battle against the Wolverines.
Still possessed by the Knights here. Spoke a little too soon as the Knights turn it over for a throw-in for the Wolverines.
The curse of the commentator continues every time. Cole Jensen keeping the pressure on the back line of the Wolverines there. Allie Rigby comes out with the ball. I think you can tell the Knights definitely trying to work the ball up to Barton in some of their previous games. Has done really well. Had a lot of success if they can get the ball down into the corner, especially deep into the end line. Looks like so far Barton trying to just bring the ball back into the center and connect with Mercer. Mercer with a shot on goal. Ends up in the hands of Amanda Deputy again. Good opportunity there by the Knights on about a 20-yard shot.
Another high arcing punt here from Amanda Deputy. Bouncing around midfield.
Good try by the Knights to try to work the ball out of their defense and get it back up line. Unable to connect. Wolverines take the throw in long downfield. Kira Tolbert trying to just shield the ball out of bounds, does so. It'd be a goal kick for the Knights. Meredith Ouellette largely unchallenged in this game. We've had one shot by Alea Cummings, and aside from that, not too much action for her between the posts.
Not much at all, and that's kind of the curse of being a goalkeeper. Either you're busy all game, or you really have nothing to do. And tonight for Meredith Ouellette, really not much to say. As you see, a great through ball there from the Knights, just unfortunately miscued and handled there toward the right wing.
You saw Clarissa Barton trying to cut into the center, so close to doing so, but it looked like it hit her in the back of the leg. Not quite able to come out with that one. Knights will have a substitution. Looks like we have number 5, Alyssa Winterton, entering the field, junior from Charlottesville, Virginia. Knights try to head the ball into the box, looking for McCall Jensen on that one. Just a little bit long, falls off the end line, be a goal kick for Wesley College. Knights yet again the first to get a touch on the ball after a goal kick.
The past 7 or 8 minutes, though, the Knights are doing an extremely good job of intercepting nearly all the passes here of the Wolverines and doing a great job of keeping it in the offensive half, looking for passes and such, and after intercepting the ball, really looking to score on goal.
Yeah, they really have kept the pressure on for the most part and doing a good job in keeping it on their own end of the field. Had quite a few opportunities, unable to come up with one so far, but you can just feel they're knocking on the door.
With the amount of pressure the Knights team has put here on the Wolverines defense, it's only a matter of time before the first goal is conceded here.
Seems to be, especially with her work ethic. Clarissa Barton able to get the ball back there for the Knights.
And this is kind of what we were talking about earlier, about a team finding their groove. I believe the Knights here have found their groove in attacking this Wolverines defense.
They're definitely really close. You can see they have gotten back to some of their original style that they've had in previous games. A lot of passes, work the ball up, and then someone comes off with a good shot. So far, they've had a couple of good opportunities. Nothing capitalized on yet, but you can feel they're getting in there. Morales-Yan finds Barton up the sideline, has a great turn, able to beat her defender. Knights on a quick counter here. They have McCall Jensen in the center. Ball played just in between a couple of Knights players there. Wesley College comes out with possession, and that was working the ball back upfield. Looks like we'll have a throw in for the Knights.
Handled now by Cora Jewell. Looks at the pass, falls to Allie Rigby in the middle.
Wolverines just forced to clear that one out as the keeper was well off her line. Knights building yet again in the attacking third, so close. Cyan Smith comes up to take the throw in. Seeing a lot of Knights attackers in the box. Cyan Smith goes down, earns a free kick for the Knights. That's a great position for her. As we mentioned earlier, the Knights can be very dangerous on set pieces, corner kicks, free kicks, whatever they need to. So McCall Jensen may be looking to cross this one into the far post.
Wouldn't be surprised if they short pass to her left to Cyan Smith would be on its way. As she elects to kick it towards the middle of the goal, almost a shot.
Looked like
looking on goal.
Yeah, it looked like it definitely was supposed to be a shot, but she hooked it just a little bit to the left. Unable to really provide any dangerous opportunity there for the Knights. Wolverines make a substitution onto the field. So pushing the back against the Knights. Wolverines earn a free kick.
And great pass across the field by the Knights here.
Barton again up the sideline, going to one-on-one against a defender. Tries to connect with Jensen on a 1-2 pass. Ball just a little bit out of control there. The Knights still with possession, though. McCall Jensen trying to find another player in the center. She's so good at doing that. Finds it, connects with Rigby into the center. Gets into the box, gets a shot on goal. Pushes it just over the crossbar. Great opportunity there by Rigby.
Rigby weaving her way in between two defenders there of the Wolverines defense and looking for that shot. Got good contact on the ball, but unfortunately just over the crossbar.
Yeah, a
lot of Knights.
A lot of pressure on that shot, so that's a really tough one, but very close to being in.
Knights so close here, drawing first blood of just breaking this 0-0 deadlock we've had here for this game. I believe the first person to score the first goal, obviously they have an advantage mentally over the game.
Yeah, and especially in a game like this, I think the team to score first may just be able to come out with a win on a 1-0 victory. Wolverines will have a throw in deep in their defensive third. Wolverines looking to make a counter of their own upfield.
A little bit of contact there. Foul called by the referee. Be a free kick for the Wolverines here.
This ball about at midfield may not be quite as dangerous as the free kick the Knights had. Wolverines trying to play the ball deep into the corner. Not really any attackers in the area on that one. The ball roll off the end line for a goal kick.
Substitution in for the Wolverines. Looks like it's number 11, Savannah Corcoran.
have a throw in for the Knights. Morales-Yan to take that. Cyan Smith able to connect with Alyssa Winterton. Great turn by the Knights here. Looking upfield. Tries to play the ball into Barton yet again. Unable to connect, but the Knights will have a throw in. Wolverines elect to just clear it out. Right to Cyan Smith. Knights trying to find Rigby in the corner. Wolverines forced to clear it out. Give the Knights a throw in their attacking third. Cyan Smith crosses the ball in, trying to find someone in the center. Nobody in the area for the Knights. But they build up again for another attack. Winterton bringing the ball around. Might have been trying for a shot on that one. Sails well wide of the goal, though. Be a goal kick for Wesley College. Knights come out with possession. A lot of players on that right side definitely trying to work it downfield. You see Morales-Yan up from the defense as well. Right up there with Barton and McCall Jensen. Not able to come out with a possession there. It'll be a throw in for the Wolverines. Wolverines trying to get the ball into the center. Ends up at the feet of Rigby.
Still at the feet of Rigby.
Looks like she was looking for Clarissa Barton out on the sideline. Barton just a little bit behind her. Rigby, great steal there, trying to come out and bring the ball into the center for the Knights. Kylie Auger working the ball around for the Knights, plays it off to Winterton. Connects with Rigby, connects with Smith yet again.
Great play there by the Knights between the two players. Just unfortunately sails out of bounds for the goal kick for Wesley College.
Some great 1-2 passing there by the Knights to work the ball down into the corner, which I think has really been their most dangerous attacking stance so far this season. So that's good to see there by the Knights. Knights make a substitution. Number 3, Emma Landy enters the field. Freshman from Alpine, California. Landy making her first entrance into the Knights lineup for a while. She's had a little bit of an injury for the last couple of games, so it's good to see her back out onto the field. Wolverines flick the throw in on. Trying to just get it to the point of attack and see if they can come up with something in the last 3 minutes of the half. Jewel connecting with Landy up the sideline. Tries to get the cross in just a little bit ahead of Barton there. Wolverines kick it out for a throw-in, though. Knights still have an opportunity. Tries to connect with Rigby into the center. A lot of Wolverines in the area. Jewell tries to get a shot off. Goes well wide of the goal. Big goal kick for Wesley College.
Definitely no shortage of goal kicks here for Wesley College. They've had multiple opportunities because the Knights just can't seem to find the back of the net.
Yeah, they get it into the attacking third quite well, but not able to capitalize on some of them. Some of them sailing just wide or over the top, but good to see the attacking threat from the Knights. Barton putting a lot of pressure on there. Ball falls across the sideline. Be a throw in for Wesley College. And Powell connects with McCall Jensen. Great back heel, trying to find Rigby in the center. Takes a great touch into the middle. A little bit of a battle there with Allison Backert of Wesley College. Knights get a throw in the attacking third. Good opportunity for him here. Jewell brings the ball to the end line, crosses it in, looking for Rigby. Sails just over. Wesley College just heads that one out. Cyan Smith will take the throw in for the Knights. Wesley College not able to clear it out just yet. Winterton in the center with the ball. Finds Jewell, finds Jensen trying to connect. Knights not able to keep the possession on that one. Falls just over the end line. Another goal kick for Amanda Deputy. Knights may try to take one last opportunity here with about 10 seconds remaining in the half. Cyan Smith tries to take a pretty deep shot on goal there. Unable to come up with anything, and that'll take us into halftime with a 0-0 draw. Neither team able to come up with anything so far, but the Knights awfully close.
For sure, and the Knights definitely a second half team, so it'll be interesting to see after this break if the coach changes something, and maybe they'll come in early in the second half, be able to get a goal, and it'll be interesting to see if Wesley College does the same thing, see if they can change something at halftime and come in maybe looking like a different team in the second half.
Yeah, I think so far the Knights are really the better-looking team in the first half, coming away with way more shots on goal, way more attempts in the attacking third. Really, only a couple of opportunities for the Wolverines. Alea Cummings, pretty much a one-on-one against the goalie, a fairly long-range shot. Pretty good attempt. Cummings, as we've mentioned, 8 goals on the season for her, so definitely a threat for the Wolverines. But I think the Knights' back line doing a really good job recognizing who's the dangerous players and providing a lot of opportunities for the attackers, but I think, as you mentioned, nobody coming away with anything yet. Really close, though, by the Knights. We'll see if Coach Cox can bring any spirit into them. We'll go ahead and step away for a little bit after this first half, and we'll be back for the second half in about 13 minutes. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the fields here at Southern Virginia University for this second half of this women's soccer matchup between the Wesley College Wolverines and your Southern Virginia Knights. I'm Sam Horman. I'm joined now by Jackson Hatch, the place kicker for the football team, with me out there. Jackson, what'd you see in the first half there?
Well, Sam, it's a pleasure to be here with you. The first half's kind of stuck in a deadlock, but there's a couple things that the Knights could improve on. They did a good job of keeping the ball in the attacking third, keeping the Wolverines pinned deep. It looks like they're just missing that last pass or maybe a couple more shots on goal. But they're doing a good job of keeping the Wolverines deep, and we'll see if they can pull something out.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with you. I think in the first half, the Knights did have 9 shots, only 3 of which were on goal, but the 9 shots do speak for itself. As we mentioned before, the Wolverines definitely had a lot of goal kicks, a lot of deep throw-ins as well, so the Knights did do a good job keeping the ball in their attacking third. Really only 2 shots by Wesley College in the first half. Only 1 corner kick between the two teams for Southern Virginia. Really, as you mentioned, kind of just a deadlock. Neither team really able to come out with anything. We'll see what Coach Cox has talked to the Knights about and see what they can come out with here in the second half. Curious as well, Wesley College's coach Ed Muntz is in his 22nd season at Wesley. He's been there quite some time, so very familiar with the program. I'm sure has had many opportunities for such a halftime discussion with just a 0-0 draw going into halftime. We'll see what kind of energy and adjustments Wesley College makes. I think really they haven't had too many opportunities so far, and so they may try to shift things up in order to try to create a little more offense for them.
Yeah, like you said, they haven't had too many opportunities. Might start seeing them push a couple more players forward or making a couple different subs, pulling out some defenders and throwing on some attackers to see what they can do.
Yeah, I think Alea Cummings really has been their only attacking threat so far. Well, the Knights play a long ball over the top, force Amanda Deputy to come out and clear that one away. I think you're right. Really, they haven't had too many attacking threats up at the top of the field. Really, Alea Cummings with a good shot in the first half, but pretty much on her own, so they may try to shift a few more players up and try to put a little bit of pressure on the back line for the Knights, which the back four has done quite well for them so far, so maybe try to break them.
It's played out just a little too far for a Knights throw-in. The Knights will look to maintain possession and push the ball forward. Ball's being played up nicely up that side by the Knights. Cut back to the middle. See if we can't get a couple passes. Looks like things are opening up, and that's a good step by the Wolverine defender to clear that ball out of there.
Yeah, it's good to see by the Knights, though. Definitely trying to work the ball back into the center. They do favor working the ball up the sideline initially, and then once they get an opportunity, try to play it across. You saw a couple of passes there. Allie Rigby trying to connect over. Just unable to get anything finalized on that one, but definitely has been the tactic so far by the Knights. I think Coach Cox really trying to get them to work it into the center rather than play it through the side.
Absolutely. That one, again, just the pass just a little bit off, but you feel as though that last pass is going to be the breaking point for the Knights, and they'll finally be able to get one in the back of the net.
Knights doing a good job maintaining possession on the ball. Barton trying to find a pass upfield.
Knights are trying to pin the Wolverines deep here. Not allow them to clear that ball out. They're doing a good job so far.
Good job played into Jewell in the center. Takes a shot on goal. Ends up in the hands of Deputy. That's a good opportunity there for the Knights. A fairly long-range shot by Cora Jewell there, but good to see him test the keeper early.
It is. As we've mentioned, the turf's a little bit wet and the ball tends to skip. Sometimes those long shots can take a funny skip and surprise the keeper a little bit.
Definitely learned a lot about that from some morning football practices, trying to kick off this wet turf. About 7 o'clock in the morning, you do realize the ball takes a lot of different skips.
Absolutely it does. Always surprises you. On the turf already, the ball seems to run a little bit faster. When it's wet, adds a little bit more speed to that even.
Another great attacking opportunity for the Knights. That one pushed just a little bit wide of the goal there. Knights with a couple of dangerous opportunities here with only 4 minutes gone in the second half.
That's been a great attack so far. Hopefully we can keep that up and push one through. Knights are able to win that goal kick. Trying to bring it down.
And Powell getting possession back for the Knights, doing a good job moving the ball upfield. Clarissa Barton moving in, trying to make a run for her. And Powell wide open up the sideline. See if she can get a cross in here. A couple of Knights in the center. Trying to get the ball to the top of the 18 there. Unable to connect. Looked like Cora Jewell was in the area. Knights do a good job there not allowing the counter to break through against Wesley College.
The throw-in is won back by the Knights, looking to maintain possession, going towards the middle to Ann Powell. We noticed towards the end of the first half, the Knights were able to maintain a lot better possession and just keep moving the ball. They had a lot of really good wall passes and different ways that they were attacking that seemed to work. They've been able to keep that up so far in the second half. Trying to find that long ball through, just picked up by the Wolverines goalkeeper.
Yeah, I think as you mentioned, they did have a lot of progress toward the end of the first half there in connecting a bunch of their passes. I think that was something Coach Cox addressed at halftime, was just keep that focus. They've had a lot of success up until this point in the season as well. They really do know how to do that well. I think Coach Cox trying to just get them to focus a little bit more. A lot of contact there in the middle of the box. Knights earn a free kick. Allie Rigby there takes a fall. Really good opportunity here for the Knights. Ball only about 25 yards off frame.
Great job by Allie sliding past her defender and being able to draw that contact and go down and turn that into a good opportunity for the Knights.
Looks like the Knights put number 22, Taylor Mercer, on the free kick. May see a shot towards the near post here if she can get it over that wall. You see Deputy not sure exactly where she needs to be, trying to cover that far post, but she may shift over just a little bit. Ball's laid off. Cyan Smith comes in strong with a shot there from the defense. That was a sneaky play by the Knights there.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting that at all, but it was a good shot on goal for the Knights.
Something they may have been working on in the training grounds there. You can see the attempt on that one maybe to try to go to the near post, and that may get the goalie to try to creep off her far post there and come towards it, open up the goal a little bit. I think maybe took just a little bit too long. Cyan Smith did come up and have a really good shot. May have just given the goalie just a little bit too much time, though.
Wolverines pushing forward into the Knights' defensive third. The ball's cleared away momentarily. Knights able to regain possession here in the middle with Allie Rigby trying to play a ball over the top. That's a good ball. Knights are in onto the attacking third. Fortunately, there was nobody in the middle to receive that cross.
Yeah, it looked like Airdrie Palmer trying to get a ball in. Not sure if that was a shot or a cross. It looked like it was an attempt at both and ended up kind of being neither. Unfortunately, ends up in the hands of Deputy there. We saw a couple of Knights in the area, in the center. Not able to connect on that one, though, with Palmer. Wolverines trying to play a long ball down the sideline. Knights defenders able to just take that one away easily and turn it around. Rigby bringing the ball up the field yet again for the Knights. Trying to connect with Mercer. Just a little bit too far ahead of her. Deputy will come out for that one.
Ball's played out to midfield, won by the Knights. A little bit of contact, but the ref says play on. Clarissa Barton doing a good job of taking on a couple defenders and trying to make a nice pass to the outside.
Cora Jewell making a good run down that sideline. Not able to connect with Barton on that one, but you can see the attempt is there. The pressure's there. The Knight strikers definitely recognize each other in that third of the field and do a good job in trying to find each other. So far, just not quite able to connect some of the passes, unfortunately.
Clarissa Barton was a great pickup for the Knights, a transfer student from Western Wyoming Community College, where she played for the Mustangs, coached by Jeff Atkinson.
She's done a really good job getting up the sideline for the Knights. Really has been quite a dangerous threat. As we mentioned earlier, she loves to get to the end line and then cut across into the middle, trying to find another Knights player. Really, she's done a wonderful job. If she just lays it off about the 18, she's had a couple of opportunities for assists. She does lead the Knights in assists on the season. So she has been a wonderful asset for the Knights. Has 3 assists on the season, but really it's been her presence that has just dominated the defense of whoever they're playing. So even though statistically she only has 3 assists, a lot of times she's the player that gets the ball to the player who gets the best shot.
Knights unable to maintain possession. That'll roll out for a Knights throw-in. Excuse me. Looks like it'll be a Wolverines throw-in.
Wolverines trying to get the ball into the center. Falls at the feet of the Knights. And Powell lays the ball off to Cyan Smith, trying to work it out of the defense.
One of the great opportunities that came for the Knights was when Ann Powell pushed forward and was able to make a good run. She's got that speed. You almost wonder if the Knights will pull up one of the outside backs and try and make a couple more runs like that.
Long ball over the top by Wesley College here in a foot race against Ann Powell. Powell able to kick it off with the Wesley College attacker, and it'll be a goal kick from Meredith Foulette.
Yeah, that's a hard ball to run down. Not many people can beat Ann Powell in a foot race.
Yeah, she is very quick. She's also a very good defensive leader for the Knights. Really just anchors them down back there. Very tough to try to beat her in a sprint. Wesley College definitely favoring that about 30-yard pass over the top, trying to just get someone to connect, fall on it. So far, largely unsuccessful as they only have a couple of attackers there, and the Knights' back line able to just keep everything in front of them.
Ball bounces over the Wolverines defender, and almost a good breakaway chance for Allie Rigby.
So close on that one. Looked like the defender there for the Wolverines kind of just jumped into the ball and pushed it out, but it'll be a throw in for the Knights.
A little bit of contact will bring that ball back for the Knights. Good free kick opportunity.
Good job by Barton there, taking the contact.
We'd love to see a good lofted ball into the box, maybe see if you can't get ahead on it.
Yeah, absolutely. You see Cora Jewell on the back post. Pretty good target for her. She's definitely one of the taller players on the field and has a couple of headed goals on the season.
She does a great job of getting on the end of those free kicks. Allie Rigby able to play the ball in. Unfortunately unable to find a Knights defender, but that is out for a corner.
Yeah, that's a tough one there. That's really hard if you're the defender. It looked like number 4, Allison Backert, not able to clear that one the direction she wanted to. It ended up sailing over the crossbar. Sometimes you can take an unlucky deflection on those that can end up an own goal in the back of the net. See Mercer cross the ball into the center. Able to connect with a Knights player, and it falls, but not able to finish that one. Looked like Kylie Auger on the end of that play there, unable to just redirect it towards the goal. Looks like kind of just hit her on the hip. See another great cross in. Taylor Mercer on the end of this one. Heads it just wide of the goal.
Looks like a couple of substitutions for the Wolverines.
Ref definitely trying to stop the clock for these substitutions.
Ball kind of bouncing around off of that goal kick as both teams are fighting to gain possession.
I think the problem that Wesley College seems to be having so far is they're so quick to expand, but they almost expand too slowly with their players, but too fast with the ball. You see them just try to kick the ball up and hope that someone's on the end of it. Sometimes someone's in the vicinity, but really haven't had any connection with their players. The connection from the midfield to the attackers is largely non-existent. They just kind of play a hopeful ball over the top and hope someone's on the end of it, but then almost just leave them hanging on a 2-on-4 against the Knights' very solid back line.
That's a great observation, Sam. Sometimes you need to kind of delay the ball and allow your team to push forward and everybody else get in the attack.
Which seems to be what the Knights trying to do. You can see as they move the ball upfield here, a couple of extra players coming up. Barton on the ball now on the sideline, but you see other players making runs into the corner, able to connect here with Mercer. Mercer stops, waits for her players. You see Rigby now trying to find a pass. Then you see the midfield from the Knights come upfield, and that's, I think, why the Knights have been more dangerous. Is they involve all three phases of their team. You saw the attack really build up there from some of their strikers, but then you saw the midfield come up and accompany, and then you saw at the end there, Cyan Smith from the defense even get involved in the play, and I think that's really been the turning point for the Knights so far.
Yeah, it's tough as a defender when you're trying to clear those balls out and your forwards aren't coming back to be able to win those for you. Just keeps the Knights in the game and that attacking third.
Allie Rigby comes away with the steal, trying to pull a quick move around a defender there. Again, the ball expands out very fast, but you only see one Wolverine player there even close against 3 or 4 Southern Virginia defenders. Just nowhere for the Wolverines to go, and now they can turn around and bring up, you see about 6 of their players through. You see Cora Jewell with a great through ball there.
Airdrie Palmer on that, able to get a shot off just wide of the goal.
So close on that one, had Deputy chasing it down. Looked like she may have tripped just a little bit.
That was a great through ball and a great strike from Airdrie Palmer. Just unable to finalize on that one.
Again, the theme of the night has been the Knights knocking on the door the entire time, getting so close on that. 5 shots on goal so far in this game. None of them meriting any points yet, unfortunately. Goal kick played downfield. Wesley College, again, I think just trying to find someone deep downfield, but not really anybody there except Ann Powell and the entire Knights defense.
Makes the job as a center back a little bit easier when you're able to turn with just one attacker in your face, and you can look to either side and find your defenders and maintain possession with them.
There's definitely a lot of time for center backs to make those kind of decisions.
Knights trying to play another through ball, picked up by the Wolverines, played out wide.
Great stop by Cyan Smith there, getting in the passing lane. Recognizing really the Wolverines have pretty much only had one target so far in the attack, so as long as they remember where she is, largely keeping Alea Cummings out of the game, pretty much the sole threat for the Wolverines, the back line's fairly safe.
Yeah, and one thing I've noticed is that the 2 forwards from Wesley are playing extremely far apart. Makes it really tough to keep possession when you don't have anyone to turn and pass the ball to.
Yeah, and I'm not sure the tactic is that they're trying to split the defenders either, because the midfield is so far back from them that a run couldn't reasonably be made within 15 yards without the Knights noticing. Ooh, we see a lot of contact there on a header by Ann Powell. Will result in a free kick for the Knights.
Played quickly up the side.
A lot of contact on that play too. Ref allowing advantage to be played briefly, and now will bring the ball back for a free kick. We should note as well, after this women's game is over, the men will be taking on the Wesley College Wolverines as well. Should be another interesting game. I think both teams there looking for their first conference win as well. Wow, a lot of contact on a slide tackle from behind. That will definitely be meriting a card from the referee. Not a position where you can slide from.
That's a dangerous one. That's one of those ones that kind of makes you hold your breath, hoping that nobody gets hurt. Those slides from behind can be very dangerous.
Looked like Emily Dengus, the receiver of the card there. Ref definitely not allowing any play like that to continue. Another foot race against the Knights defensive line here. Kira Tolbert able to turn on that one.
You notice the gap between the Wolverines forwards and their midfield. It just makes the Knights' job so much easier of getting the ball out of there.
Yeah, and you can see the Knights do prefer to bring up their outside backs as well. It looks like Airdrie Palmer making another good run up the side. Plays it into the middle. Open shot on goal. Oh, just not able to come up with that one. Just too far into the center of the goal. Makes the job a little bit too easy for Deputy. Tried to put it a little bit high, but maybe could have opted for one of the posts instead. The Knights so close to opening up this game, though.
As the chances keep increasing, you feel that just one of these shots is going to find its way to the back of the net for the Knights.
They've had so many opportunities from so many different players. Surely someone's just going to step up and put one in, but they have had quite a few different opportunities from all over the field.
And the Knights have done a great job of varying their attack and coming in at different ways.
which, given how they've played in some of the previous games where they largely favored one attacking method, it's good to see them diversify a little bit. Coach Cox, I'm sure, has recognized their strengths and take advantage of those, but also try to capitalize on some of the other talent that they have. They have brought in quite a few good young players this season. So I think trying to just get everybody's strengths involved rather than just scoring only one way does make them a more dimensional team. Looks like we'll have a throw in for the Knights. Number 20, Cyan Smith, to take that. Knights get another throw in deep in the defensive third.
Knights opting to throw it a little bit longer. Won by the Wolverines. Ball deep to the corner. Cleared out by the Knights. The Wolverines able to maintain possession. Talan Powell makes a great step and takes away any threat that the Wolverines would have had.
Knights do a good job of, once they get the possession, they really do turn on the counterattack. You can see them just switch the point of attack very quickly. Played into Ali Rigby here, takes another shot on goal, hits the post and ends up back in the hands of Deputy. See another great opportunity by the Knights on a very quick counterattack that started deep in their defensive third, turned it around so fast and gave Rigby an open shot just inside the 18 in the middle of the field. Deputy wasn't ready for that one.
She was not. That was a great wall pass from the Knights, opening up things in the middle versus the traditional attack from the side.
Knights yet again with 6 or 7 really dangerous opportunities here in the second half alone. Looks like we'll have a couple substitutions under the field. We'll have number 3 Emma Landy re-enter and Shirley Morales-Yan as well coming into the back line.
Going back to that chance, you could hear everybody in the stadium's breath kind of just being held. The goalie even stopped herself. She thought she was beaten. Unfortunately, just dings off the post for the Knights.
Yeah, pretty much the luckiest ricochet in history to end up right in the hands of the goalie on that one. She hadn't made a whole lot of movement to get to that one. I think Deputy recognizing a great shot and a great setup as well by Rigby and the attackers from the Knights. Just an unfortunate bounce and ends up right in her hands. Made it almost too easy for her.
Knights doing a good job of getting out of the defensive third. Clarissa Barton, unfortunately, Wolverines are able to stop that attack. Looks like it's going to be out for a Wolverines throw.
Ball thrown long downfield. Wolverines trying to just force it down into the attacking third of the Knights. Knights pretty comfortable dealing with that, though. Looks like Wesley College will have a throw-in in their own attacking third.
Thrown just over the head of the attacker. Easily won by the defense of SVU.
Knights do a good job maintaining pressure on the ball carrier at any point.
It's like Wesley was trying to push the ball out wide, maybe involve some of the right back. Unfortunately, the ball is just a little long.
Knights trying to make a quick counter of their own. Ali Rigby again in the middle of the field. Does a good job trying to wait up for some of the other players, though, recognizing move forward, not a whole lot of options. Great turn there by Rigby again, putting some good moves on against the Wesley College defense. Now lays it off. Cyan Smith tries to cross it in. Looked like Barton again in the area. Not able to connect, though.
Shirley Morales able to win that ball off of the drop kick. And finds a great through ball to Clarissa Barton, who's in.
It's been the area where Barton's so dangerous.
Chose to take on a defender rather than putting the ball into the area. Unfortunately, loses the ball.
Morales Yan earning a free kick there for the Knights, and another good opportunity for him here. See Cyan Smith come over to take the ball. Might be trying to find Cora Jewell or another player on the back post for the Knights. Last time they had this opportunity, it did go near post. Ball is played towards the back post, headed in toward the center. Right into the hands of Deputy yet again. The Knights so close to scoring, just not able to finish on anything so far tonight.
You're always taught to follow up on your shots, Sam, and looks like that one, somebody would have been running in at the keeper. Could have turned into a quick goal for the Knights.
Yeah, that's why they teach you to do that, especially on a night like tonight where the ball is capable of doing anything. I mean, just an unfortunate skip, an unfortunate bounce. It's so close to coming out with that one there.
Knights again opting to go through the middle. Through ball to Allie Rigby. Just unable to get onto the end of that. As Deputy is able to pick that up for the Wolverines.
Pretty good punt, reaches about midfield. Knights make a substitution. McCall Jensen re-enters the game for Clarissa Barton. Interesting tactical change there. Coach Cox maybe trying to get a little bit more possession rather than the quick speed from Barton, who I'm sure we'll see re-enter the game.
Knights trying to find that spark. They're looking to push through that first goal. With as tight of a game as this has been, kind of makes you wonder if one will be enough.
Yeah, and with about 16:30 remaining in the game, we have seen a pretty solid performance by the Knights in most of their second halves this season. So once it does come down to it, we do know that they're quite capable of running out the clock and keeping a lot of pressure on. So it will be interesting to see. So far, though, neither team able to come up with anything substantial for the scoreboard. Wesley College still trying to just play it through, right directly through the Knights defense, but the numbers from the Knights and also just the skill level keeping Wesley College off the board.
Allie Rigby putting on a couple of moves, turning a defender. Ball's played into the middle for the Knights, lofted high.
And again, I think as you mentioned earlier, you can see the disconnect. The two strikers from Wesley College about 40 yards away from the rest of the midfield. Pretty much how it's been the entire game. Knights trying to take advantage of it here, breaking through into the box. Good shot on goal yet again. Deputy pushes that one just wide.
In a numbers game like soccer, it just makes it that much easier when the disconnect is there. Finding that extra pass is just a little bit easier. Corner for the Knights will be taken by Cyan.
Ball's crossed long in. Cora Jewell on the end of it and heads it into the goal on the near post. The Knights, with only one of their few corner kicks on the game, able to connect on that one to the near post. Cora Jewell with her fourth goal of the season, her second game in a row scoring for the Knights.
And the second goal in a row coming from a corner. We know that Cora is very capable of winning those tough balls in the air.
Yeah, she's one of the tallest players on the field at any given moment, so definitely looking for her in the box. The Knights have done such a good job on any free kick opportunity, especially the corners. They've scored on one in the last 2 games, so really, teams looking ahead. Got to watch out for Cora Jewell. She's very dangerous in the box. The Knights take a 1-0 lead over Wesley College. We'll see if they're able to hold on to it for the last 15 minutes. I'm sure Wesley now trying to make some tactical changes, substitutions possibly, to try to bring some more attack upfield. Could leave them vulnerable against the Knights' very strong attack, though. They've had plenty of opportunities working the ball up, that one coming off of a corner, but I'm sure Wesley College now trying to shift up a couple more players because really haven't been able to connect too much from their midfield to their strikers.
Looks like Wesley's starting to play with a little bit more urgency, realizing that there's only about 15 minutes left in the game. Being down a goal makes a big difference.
Yeah, I'm almost surprised that they didn't try to bring this a little bit earlier. I mean, the Knights have had 9 shots on goal and several more opportunities beside that statistically don't end up on the score sheet. Really, they've had quite a few opportunities. I'm surprised at almost how lax the Wesley's attack and midfield have been in getting the ball up. See, now they're trying to keep a lot more pressure on the Knights, though.
As you mentioned, those 9 shots, generally what we see is in tough games like this, as soon as you get the first, sometimes they just keep rolling. You wonder if that's going to happen here with the Knights.
That is typically what happens. Hopefully the Knights can continue to move the ball upfield. Looks like Wesley has really tried to turn the tide, though, and keep the pressure deep in the attacking third against the Knights. So far, Knights trying to just bring the ball out. McCall Jensen may get on the end of this ball here. Does so. Maintains possession for the Knights, trying to find Rigby in the center.
Does a good job of holding up the ball and allowing the rest of the team to move forward into the attack. Unfortunately, just unable to get on the end of the pass.
So we see a Wolverines player go down there in a little bit of pain. We also have a substitution by the Knights. Emma Schroeder re-enters the game. Looks like number 19, Megan DeLauder, grabbing her right thigh a little bit. Maybe just getting late in the game. We may see some cramping or just fatigue type of injuries.
Shirley making an overlapping run. Ali Rigby turns the other way and plays it to the opposite side. Good move.
Cyan Smith making a great run down the side. Took a little bit of contact as well. Knights continue to push the attack here. Cora Jewell lays it off to Morales-Yan, who tries to find McCall Jensen in the center. Great back heel to Emma Schroeder. Plays it into the corner just a little bit too far ahead of Ali Rigby. Will be a throw-in for the Wolverines with about 11:30 remaining in the game.
Seeing a little bit more patience from Southern Virginia. They're allowing the attack to really build before they try and push any through balls.
Yeah, and I think that's important for 2 reasons. The first obviously being, you know, they do want to build their attack. They need more players up, but also as time does fall off the clock quickly here, there's not necessarily a need to try to get a second goal. Obviously, you know, you do want to get a brace. It would really be helpful for the mentality as well. But the Knights do need to recognize, you know, about 11 minutes left in the game. All that needs to happen is the time needs to fall off the clock. So I'm sure we may see some time-saving techniques here. Cora Jewell with a shot on goal, aims for the far post. Ends up in the hands of Wesley College goalkeeper yet again.
Ball's going to be played out for a Knights throw-in. Looks like we're going to have a couple more substitutions.
Taylor Mercer re-enters the game, along with Clarissa Barton. Only about a 6-7 minute break for her there.
Hopefully she can come back in and regain that rhythm that she had. Sometimes it's hard to come off the field and come back on and be able to find that rhythm.
Yeah, hopefully she's bringing some instruction from Coach Cox as well. I'm sure She's definitely trying to build something for her team here. They've done a wonderful job offensively and defensively, but a little bit of coaching from the sideline does help. Taylor Mercer tries to bring the ball in for McCall Jensen. Pass play just a little bit ahead. Wesley clears that out, and will be a throw in for the Knights.
It's like a ball's rolling onto the field from where the men's team is warming up. We would like to remind you to stick around for that game as well. They'll be playing right after this game, also taking on the Wolverines of Wesley College.
I'm sure the men's team hoping this doesn't go into overtime, as they already have a 7:30 kickoff time. They may get a little bit of chance to warm up on the field, but if this does go into overtime, it would be a long night for Wesley College. Knights doing a good job here, trying to make sure there is no overtime and just take a 1-0 win in for their first conference win of the season. This would help them out a lot as they move into a lot of conference play. So far, 0-3 in the conference, but as we do enter the latter half of their schedule, a lot of good teams in the Capital Athletic Conference. The Knights definitely taking on Mary Washington this Wednesday away, and then St. Mary's at home on Saturday the 14th, their next upcoming games.
It's like a lack of communication there, as Clarissa Barton could have easily turned upfield rather than trying to play that ball back to Shirley. Knights take a quick free kick, play it across the field. Swinging it out wide. Through ball down to the corner, put across to the middle. Clarissa Barton gets on the end of it, just unable to finish.
The ball may have been bouncing just a little bit. Definitely got under that one and just skied it. Unfortunately, it can be very difficult to try to shoot those crosses sometimes. If the ball is anywhere off the ground, the scoop is just a little bit hard to control.
Wolverines able to bring down the goal kick. Swing it out wide. Played up the line, the ball brought down. Unfortunately, out for a throw-in.
Jewel looking upfield, connecting with Barton, who has a great turn, finds Morales-Yan up the sideline. She tries to bring it back into the middle. Wesley College able to step in front of that one, and now trying to make their own attempt upfield, trying to just play that long ball through. Only one Wolverine in the area. Looks like Ann Powell collides with Alea Cummings there, and Wolverines will have a free kick about 50 yards out from the goal.
I haven't seen too many changes tactically from the Wolverines. Kind of surprising. Generally the last 10-15 minutes is where you start to kind of hit that moment of desperation and start to throw some players forward.
Yeah, especially with about 6 minutes and 30 seconds remaining in the game. Yeah, I'm quite surprised that they haven't started pushing players up, as at this point they don't really have anything to lose, even though the Knights have had quite a good attacking threat so far in the game. With 6 minutes left, you got to go for the win. You're already 1-0 down. 2-0 doesn't really make a difference as far as record, and goal differential not really too much of a factor. So I'm quite surprised that they haven't brought up more players. Knights, on the other hand, bringing up a lot of players. Cora Jewell trying to connect with McCall Jensen there. Ball played just a little bit too long.
The Knights have done a great job tonight of just building up from the back, keeping their passes simple. And we saw another example of that today, or just barely, until that through ball just ran a little bit long.
See a couple more substitutions by the Knights. Kayla Fairbanks re-entering the game in the defense.
Looks like that throw-in came in just a little bit too early. Shirley wasn't quite off the field yet. It's going to be a rethrow for the Knights. Great pass into the middle. Clarissa Barton gets on the end of it. And she's able to finish that one for the Knights.
Great job working a pass there with McCall Jensen. Clarissa Barton doing a good job getting a brace for the Knights. Playing a quick 1-2 pass. That is a great goal for the Knights. Just able to sneak that one past the goalkeeper on the far post. Great run by both players, opening up the Wesley College back line and just finishing that one.
That was a great example of just finding those simple passes, maintaining possession and being patient with the ball. Clarissa Barton was able to keep her composure. That was a great finish.
Is that what they teach at Western Wyoming?
That is. Clarissa Barton was great for the Mustangs.
For those at home, Jackson Hatch, also a transfer from Western Wyoming, a soccer player there, has now come to kick for Southern Virginia's football team. Went 6 for 6 on PATs today with a field goal.
Yeah, it was a good day.
It was a good day, as many of you may have seen on the stream. Homecoming this weekend for the Knights. We do have 3 games. As we mentioned, the men's game coming up after this. Football game played before. So far, the Knights looking at 2 wins, already one from the football team. A 2-0 victory may be at hand here with about 4 minutes left in the game. We have seen the women's team really pick it up here. I'm sure even if Wesley were to come up with 1 here, I think 2 would be really tough to try to find, especially as the back line for the Knights has done such a wonderful job the first 86 minutes of this game.
The back line of the Knight is just full of vocal leaders, especially from the keeper, Meredith. She does a great job of keeping her defense organized from the back.
Long throw into McCall Jensen, trying to find Barton again in the center. Play that worked really well last time. Played all the way over to Jewel, who has Cyan Smith on the sideline as well. She takes a turn, tries to find someone in the cross. Long shot there. Not able to connect on that one. I think you can see a little bit of disappointment in some of the Wesley College players who really hung in this game for a long time. The entire first half was, although the Knights may have had a little bit more momentum, was fairly even in a lot of aspects, but now the Knights are really turning it on. As we mentioned, a second half team getting 2 goals in the last 15 minutes of the game. That's very impressive.
Sometimes these are the hardest losses, when you hang on for so long and just breaks down at the end.
Still not giving up here, though. You can see about 4 Wesley College players in the attack. Now bringing a couple more from the defense. Long ball through there. Might be able to run onto it. Tries to keep it in. It looks like we will have a throw in there for the Knights rather than a goal kick.
Probably a good thing she wasn't able to get on to the end of that, because none of the Knights defenders were expecting her to be able to.
Yeah, she had made a long run all the way up the sideline. Very impressive run there. Looks like the Knights will make a tactical substitution of their own. I believe Maddie Monson entering the game here, a senior from Blair, Nebraska. Looks like they may be trying to bring on a little bit more defense, just keep the last 2:30 of this game in control. Ball being kicked around quite a bit. The Knights able to clear it out. Looks like Barton on the end of this one. Connects with Jewel, looking upfield yet again. Trying to find Jensen. Played well over the top. Goalie comes deep off her line, tries to clear it out. Ends up at the feet of Winterton. And now we'll have a free kick for Wesley College. About 2 minutes left in the game. Knights maintain a 2-0 lead over Wesley College.
I think if you're Wesley, you just got to play this one deep and hope for the best.
Yeah, at this point, not a lot to lose. You're down 2-0. I'm bringing up almost everyone that I can to at least try to get something out of this game.
Another through ball. Clarissa Barton almost able to get onto the end of that. The Wolverines defender just clears that one away, allowing her defense to reset.
You know, it's interesting to note as well, a lot of teams at this point in the game with, 60 seconds left, 2-0 lead, a throw-in, you're walking over to that. You're taking 15 seconds off the clock to try to just run it out. But you can see the Knights players still very active in this game. You've seen the work ethic that they bring, and a lot of times making those runs, still continuing to just keep the pressure on Wesley College here. Earned a throw-in deep in their own attacking third. About 30 seconds left in the game.
I'm sure the mentality with the Knights players right now is kind of realizing how many shots on goal they've had compared to how many goals have actually been scored. I'm sure they're just wanting more and more.
Knights defense trying to get back here. Leah Cummings bringing the ball up for Wesley College, and Powell will get it back in the corner. May just tick off the last few seconds of the clock there. And that'll do it with women's soccer. The Southern Virginia Knights coming away with a 2-0 win against Wesley College. So far, Southern Virginia Athletics 2 for 2 on the day. We saw a couple brilliant goals there. Wesley College just unable to answer. Turns out Southern Virginia Athletics 3 for 3 on the day, as women's volleyball also getting a win on the day. So that's the football team, the women's soccer team, and the volleyball team coming away with it. Great day for Southern Virginia Athletics. We've seen a couple brilliant goals. We saw Clarissa Barton able to capitalize on that second goal and really seal the deal for the Knights. So that'll do it here for the women's soccer match. We again remind you the men's match about to begin. We'll take about probably 15 minutes before that one begins, and we'll see you then.